Wisconsin. Let me talk to you. How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy Weedness whatever you may call it. Hopefully, it is going great for you. It is crazy out there in the world, folks. We all got to stick together. We'll leave it at that. Much love to everybody who stops out to support this show. For those of you new to the show, we are the voice of reason, the voice of cannabis. We will not go away. We are located in Wisconsin. That is where our heart is at because Wisconsin is way behind the times. We got awesome folks out here like Jill, Danny, all the folks. We deserve legal weed out here. Our politicians are out of session because apparently, they needed a long vacation. So we are out here just banging the pots and pans, making the noise. Danny's running for president if I have any say in the matter. Appreciate everybody stopping out. Sorry we're a little late this evening. Where'd they go? I think I've got some soundboard noises we're going to test. I only got a chance to upload 2. We'll see how those work. Try to add a little pizzazz to the show. We got Jill in here. How's it going? Danny, Heath. Thank you, everybody, for stopping out. Speaking of thank you, huge shout out to the folks that make this thing happen, our friends over at Higher Love. Appreciate everything they do to be a part of the movement. Appreciate helping us make noise. Same with Ignite Dispensary. Higher Love is located in the UP. For those of you not from around Wisconsin, you go, what the hell is the UP? That would be the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, the wonderful place that my wife is from. Shout out to my wife, Liza. Love you, honey. No, but for real, anywhere in the UP that you may be crossing the border, there's probably Higher Love. Make sure you stop and check them out. Plug in that code. Take care of a nice discount for you, 15% off, one-time use. They got deli-style flour. They got it going on. We got Jake in the house, Javin in the house. Welcome. Appreciate y'all. And we got some noises coming up. We're going to try this soundboard thing. But if you're in Wisconsin looking for some great product, they also have an online store, as well as locations across the state, which include, but not limited to, Milwaukee, Spooner, Hayward, Superior, Manitowoc, New Richmond. That is Ignite Dispensary. They got a crazy amount of THC beverage selections. Make sure you check them out. They got some of the tastiest edibles around as well. Shout out to TRCC for helping with that. All right, everybody. Let's see if these noises work. Let's get into some interesting stuff we got going on in the world today of cannabis. Let's see if I got this right. Oh, all right. We're adding more buttons to Bob to be in control of those, so bear with me, folks. This could derail real quick. You never know what you're going to get with the beans at the board. Here we go. So all I got a chance to upload was 2 sounds. All right, so I went super basic because I just started figuring out right before we're supposed to go live. So apologize for not having a plethora of options, but I'm thinking something like this, at least to start. All right, don't let me know your thoughts, but don't be rough. All right, I'm trying to bring more to this. I'm thinking, well, we got something good, like we got a good article. I'm thinking we do a little clap, and then when we got something with like Voss or our buddy DeSantis down in Florida, who anything we've covered on those 2 that involves cannabis. Every time I'm reading what they said, it makes me go, what was that? Anybody know who that is? What? That's what comes to my mind. So I thought I would upload it on here. And let's see if anybody knows who that is, though, that is saying that. See who had a similar childhood. Enjoyed the Capital Times cannabis article. Great to hear, Javin. That was a good one. Shout out to Philip Scott for being in that bad boy. Mike, Michigan grower. What's up, man? Thanks for stopping out. Much love. You in the UP or the Lower Peninsula? Just curious. R. Lee Ermey? Nope. Close. Think, let's see, for that what? The gentleman's saying what? Let's think Stunna. The Stunna. UP. Nice, Mike. Right on, man. Spent a lot of time up there myself. God's country. It's like, oh man, I can't believe I'm going to say this. It's like, I love up north Wisconsin. My parents, I grew up going up north, enjoy it all, and they moved up there. So now we go up there every weekend. We're about to have a kid, and I look forward to bringing that into their life because it was so cool for me. Every weekend we were up north, damn near, probably 90% of the time. However, I guess now Michigan would be kind of like the unlocked version would be the UP because they have legal cannabis in the UP. So might be a little superior now. I used to always have a little beef saying that to Wisconsin's better than the UP, but no, that's stone cold, boys. Every place up here is a state of mind. Heard that. That's stone cold going, what? Remember all these people would come out and they'd try yapping at him and he'd be like, what? And then they'd be like, well, no, here's what I said. And then he'd just say, what? So let's get going. Let's see what we got. Nico, hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Looking forward to it. Definitely starting to get a little nerves built into there now that it's starting to really get a reality. The wife's got the little baby bump. Or, well, it's getting a bump. And got to see the baby on the ultrasound again today. And super excited. But let's get into some stuff. The first article we got is pretty awesome. Hopefully, one day, in a land far, far away. No, it's going to be in Wisconsin, but it might be a few years just because we got to keep it real. And unfortunately, that's where it seems like we're at. But we're going to have Snoop Dogg out here, and he's going to be opened up in this dispensary by us. But for now, Snoop Dogg opens first pot shop and launches 2-pot cannabis line. So if we've got this thing right, we would say, hey, Snoop. Let's show some love to Snoop. We love you, Snoop. Snoop's the man. Like, let's just be real. Does anybody in here have any beef with Snoop? We can't go into detail on what your beef is, but Snoop's just the man, right? So we've got an article here from Forbes. Hip-hop icon Snoop Dogg opened his first licensed cannabis dispensary over the weekend, offering Los Angeles residents and visitors a glimpse into the rapper's world and a new option for legal marijuana purchases. Check it out. He came up with a pretty sweet name, if I do say so myself. It looks like it is Swede, S-W-E-D, all capital, with a period after each one, which is from his popular catchphrase, smoke weed every day. The new shop opened near Lax Airport on Sunday. The busy entrepreneur marked another milestone on Monday with the launch of a limited edition line of Death Row cannabis products honoring legendary rapper Tupac. My man. We've got, Mike says, they want to smoke a Canagar with Snoop, right? Joe says we love Snoop Dogg, right? I mean, if we can ever find a way, I don't know how much money we'd have to raise, but we got to get something going with Snoop out here. That's how we get some attention. That's how we turn some heads. Hopefully one day we'll get a call from somebody who knows somebody, or I don't know what else we can do. We've tried shouting him out a few times. I'm sure we're just a blip on his radar when it comes to just the awesome being that is Snoop, and can't imagine the amount of followers and that kind of stuff. But keep your eyes out, y'all. If you ever run into him at Quick Trip or, in the UP playing around at golf, or he's at a casino, hit him up. Give him my digits. We'll raise the fund somehow. We'll start a GoFundMe. We need Snoop. Might work. No, just kidding. So it looks like Swede, smoke weed every day, offers regulated cannabis, including what you would expect, flower, pre-rolls, concentrates, and more. But the shop also features other elements of hip-hop culture to round out the experience. This is what piqued my interest. Included an area dedicated to Snoop's groundbreaking album Doggy Style, classic Snoop musings handwritten on a graffiti wall, and a smoke-free DJ booth where the artist can spin records while smoking out. That is pretty dope. They don't have any pictures of it. I wish they did. I'm sure they're out there somewhere, but that is a pretty neat experience. I'm going to guess he's going to have a few people stopping out to check out his place. Hopefully the prices are reasonable compared to other shops, because if they are, I think adding the few extra things, that's really going to get you moving to go check this place out. So very smart marketing on his part as well. Snoop Dogg was supposed to come to Cadet for Rockfest, but he canceled because cannabis is not legal in Wisconsin. Well, what the hell? Well, yeah, we need to fix that. And hopefully we're gonna. That is the plan. Looks like Snoop became a fixture of Death Row, as we know. He said, I am thrilled and appreciative of the opportunity to acquire the iconic and culturally significant Death Row Records brand, which was obviously some time ago, and has immense untapped future value. It feels good to have ownership of the label I was part of at the beginning of my career and as one of the founding members. This is an extremely meaningful moment for me. Congrats, man. That's pretty awesome. Death Row Cannabis launched last year, so some of the products he's got in there, I believe those are originally only available at Cookies. They had some kind of which when you talk about Snoop and the marketing and awareness he's going to bring to a brand, it would make sense that they are tied to probably a bigger company, at least to roll out. And I think it was Cookies that they launched those products at. Oh, shoot. Shout out, Snoop. We've got the Dr. Bombay shirt on. The Snoop and Eminem collab from a few years ago. I did not plan that. That just happened. I promise. Javin says, is it me or other than a few are Wisconsinites complacent with the current cannabis laws and their available cannabis options in state and availability in neighboring states? Definitely seems to be the thing, and it's I think what ties into that, Javin, is the fact that there's no ballot initiative in the state of Wisconsin. So being that at least what we're programmed to be told and what I could find from digging into it, and again, this just started with just me and my frustration for the lack of legalization, and that is Representative Voss, who is a very anti-cannabis individual. He is the Speaker of the House, and he controls bills and where they go. So you could have the best bill out there, but it's not going to get to any committee for a hearing because he's in control. And it's just silly to me. And unfortunately, it sounds like he lives in an area that's impenetrable when it comes to Republicans and trying to get him voted out. We'll have to see. There are some, like for folks here in Green Bay, we're only an hour from a dispensary north in the UP. So that obviously was a pretty welcome thing when that happened. But I wouldn't say, at least for me, that didn't slow me down in wanting to get it legal here. If anything, it sped me up. But I think a lot of us are just waiting for, because like we started with a petition and gathering signatures with Senator Agard. But even there, we can get the signatures, but there's no guarantee it's going to do anything. I've been trying to reach out to as many different ways about it as I can. I can't figure out the way to crack that line. But definitely all we can keep doing is talking to the folks at the Capitol and really just kind of growing this thing. I can say this was when we were only up to 10,000 followers. Before that, I had tried messaging some state representatives and stuff, emailing, whatever, and I didn't hear back. But once we got to 10,000, that's when I was like, hey, wait a second. So I started emailing these folks and reaching out for sit-downs and saying, hey, we are 10,000 strong voters across the state of Wisconsin. What is your stance? Da, 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 da. At least they're starting to answer, but now they're out of session. It's pretty crazy, if you ask me. Tammy says nothing we can do but support the UP legal cannabis, right? It's just insane, says Jeremiah, that in a half a mile, cannabis legal and not legal, right? That bridge, man. I think about every time, like, hey, so there's literally a bridge between legal and illegal. This is just silly. I've been up several times, never saw any cops pulling us over. That's good. Mike says I smoke weed on the bridge on the Michigan side. Smart. Javin says, wasn't there a state that went around the unavailable ballot initiative issue like Wisconsin has? So Florida just did this, and I was super excited. They got it to the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court. But then I was reading more on the article. They had to, it cost them $40 million. And that came from a dispensary that was a medical dispensary down there. I forget the name of it. It's one of the bigger ones. Cureleaf, I believe it was, or something. So basically, they footed the bill to get that rolling. I've heard, I won't name sources, but I talk to a lot of people, and I try to just keep this open line of communication with as many different people across the state as I can, so that when anything starts to go, that we can all work together. Because again, I just really nervous about what they're going to try to push through. We need to be collected as a people. It's going to happen. It has to happen. That's going to get legalized. But most likely it's going to be another attempt at a super restrictive medical, which I'm okay with medical, and I think most of us are, but it can't be super restrictive. I mean, it's got to make some sense. The 4 state-run dispensaries made no sense, for example. But that we people need to be together so we can get that input. They're going to try to do it quick. They're going to like, oh, there was a committee meeting. It's going to be tomorrow. If you can make it great, like it's a lot of moving pieces. My understanding is they figure we'd have to raise about $1 million to get enough people out of the state level, get enough seats moved this election. Roughly $1 million in funding, or whether, so I don't know how all that works. The lobbying, donating. It's way more complicated than I ever thought it was. I'm just this middle guy that's keeping an eye on everything. And full legalization, we'd probably have to raise $200 million. Again, there's no for sure on if that's just what I hear from people who are spending time trying to figure this thing out, going to DC, all that kind of stuff. It's crazy. Tammy says, holy shit, that's crazy, right? Tammy still don't understand why Evers can't put it to a vote like it happened in Colorado. So there is something with Wisconsin that the last governor in his lame duck session changed something. So basically our governor has very limited control in his powers. And I think that's why hardly anything ever gets passed, is because essentially the Republicans get it to the governor and then the governor has to sign off on it. But he can line item veto. It's just this. It's so. Politics are so frustrating. I don't understand why people can't work together. It really is disheartening. It really gets me going, and it's frustrating to say the least. Tammy says, "Why can't we get it legal? Why can't we talk to the states that are legal? See how they went about it." Again, the issue there, Tammy, is. Like Florida would be the closest. Well, they have medical already, but they want it recreational or adult responsible use. They had to raise $40 million to get it to the state Supreme Court, and they got it to be on the ballot this year. But there again, even if it passes, I think it's still it doesn't make much sense to me as far as how that works. It should be especially if more than 80% of the state agrees on it, it should be a thing. Like it's just silly. There's no good reason it's not, other than politicians hiding because they're getting money from somewhere. It's uber frustrating. Maybe it needs to be done town by town in Wisconsin, like Madison. That's the other crazy thing, Javin, is Madison. It's legal to smoke anywhere in Madison, to smoke cannabis, and they don't. Madison is basically legal, but you can't buy it legal. But a lot of shops are doing this little workaround thing where it's hemp, but it's not. It's time. It's definitely time, and all we can do is keep making noise, keep growing this effort, because again, we're starting to get noticed, and it's getting our voices together. It's one thing if we contact these folks, they can say, "Oh, we're sorry," blah blah blah. Yeah, well, when we come at you strong, we're up to what 34,000 now. Like we just got to keep growing. It's going to take all of us. So keep educating your neighbor, keep educating your friends on cannabis. Again, you don't need to get everybody using it. Just get them to understand why we enjoy it. It is a beautiful thing. There are so many parts to it as far as how it can help different people. We just got to work on the education, and I think that they'll have no choice. We need to vote these people out who are not listening to their constituents. So there's my little rant. Snoop Dogg, kudos to Snoop Dogg. Hopefully we're going to be seeing him with a similar setup here in Wisconsin in a few years. Snoop's the man. I think we all know that. Buddha says, hey, thanks for all you do. Hey, you bet, Buddha. Again, it's all of us, but I appreciate that. And again, all I really do is try to connect, make as many connections as I can. So when something pops off, that's when I can say, hey, guys, we need to get to Madison. They're going to have this hearing next week. Something. It's going to happen, folks. We're being heard. We need to keep rolling it, man. That's all we can do. And we ain't going away. I wish every time I started up a podcast, I want to be like, guess who's back? Because I ain't going away. It's going to happen. We need to work together, and I ain't going nowhere. Jake says, Wisconsin, okay to have alcoholics and not stoners. Exactly. That's probably the most frustrating part, Jake, especially when you see those new diagrams come out with like the top drunkest cities in the U.S., and we are more than half of them, and people think that's cool. Nah, man. I don't think so. We've got the DOJ doubles down on claim that medical marijuana patients endanger public safety if they own guns.
What?
See, that's how that's supposed to work. Because this makes no sense. If somebody were to say this to me, my response would be,
what?
I really want to see what this one's about. I want to see their nonsense. Republicans are going to screw us every time. It's starting to seem like that is the case, especially with Voss. And a lot of the Republicans say it's because of Voss. Well, stand up to Voss. That's my take. All right, let me get back to this one here. So we've got the DOJ, the Justice Department, is doubling down on its position that medical marijuana patients who possess firearms endanger public safety. That's a quote. Endanger public safety. Um, they say they pose a greater risk of suicide. That's a quote. And are more likely to make crimes to fund their drug habit. Oh my goodness. Justifying in the government's eyes a federal ban on gun ownership by cannabis consumer. Hang on, we gotta get that what in here again. Let's just. So they are quoting again. This is our Justice Department is quoting that medical marijuana patients who possess firearms, quote, endanger public safety, end of quote.
What?
Pose a greater risk of suicide, end of quote.
What?
Are more likely to commit crimes, quote, to fund their drug habit, end of quote.
What?
Where in the hell did we go wrong as people and cannabis and understanding of cannabis? Following a U.S. Supreme Court ruling last month that upheld the constitutionality of government setting certain gun restrictions in a case centered around domestic violence-related prohibitions, the justices remanded a pending cannabis and Second Amendment rights case back to the lower court for reconsideration. Late last week, plaintiffs and the DOJ submitted briefs in a separate case that responded to the potential, so I used to reading the word political, to the potential implications of the High Court's latest decision for the federal statute barring a gun ownership by cannabis consumers.
What?
So basically, it looks like what they're looking at here. There was filings that were submitted to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit. DOJ urged the panel to affirm an initial district court ruling, and that was to say that cannabis and firearms ban is constitutional, while appellants are requesting a reversal of the order, which is common sense, in my opinion. Jeremiah says that's how we need to go for adult rec use. That is the positive for sure. God put it on the earth. True. Javin says, just check that was wrong. You can own a gun in Arizona and have a medical card. Okay, that's cool. It's why it needs to be rec too, so we don't have to get a medical card. There is every year during deer hunting, which I grew up, I've been hunting since I was, I think, 11 or 12. It's been not only an awesome sport, we eat venison year round, so we process our own meat like it's a source of food. But it's also as awesome as that part is. It still started really about spending the time with my dad. It was, we drove 4.5 hours north, got to go deer hunting, and it was like the one time a year that me and Dad went on vacay. So a lot of awesome memories, getting tingly just thinking about it. And every year, I remember at the end of the gun hunting season, they talk about like how many registered deer hunters there were and how it'd be like the second largest army. So like I can see where Wisconsin would really want recreational. For that reason, but also if we have to start as a medical, I think it's a provision that has to be in there because this makes no sense we won't even go any further into that. It's just common sense. There's no reason that if you consume cannabis, you can't own a gun. Show me some proof. Show me a study that supports the opposite of that, and I will show you a lie, a bad study, or somebody lying somewhere. That's just crazy. So right here they're saying armed drug users endanger the public in multiple ways. The Justice Department said in its new filing in the cannabis and guns case, adding that the Supreme Court ruling of the United States for Rami demonstrated that governments are afforded significant leeway to enact firearms regulations. Here's a quote: individuals who possess firearms while engaged in regular use of illegal drugs endanger public safety in multiple ways. First, drug users may mishandle firearms or use firearms to commit crimes because of drug-induced changes in physiological functions, cognitive ability, and mood. I'm trying to think of where I want to start with that. But the first thing that comes to mind is just when we're talking about tempers, frustration, anger, and you look at people who drink, It's not even close if you compare cannabis to drinking as far as changing your mood, cognitive ability. This is just bullshit. Pardon my French if no, where everywhere I put this video, I put explicit content. This is bullshit, dog. This is fucking frustrating. Federal government argued today that people who use medical marijuana in compliance with their state's laws this is a tweet from the Firearms Policy Coalition, that they endangered public safety in multiple ways. Oh, I should have read this beforehand because we would have ended with this because this is stupid. This is crazy. She meant legally. That includes alcohol. Wisconsin is a loser state. Yeah, it is the reefer madness. This is the Justice Department has claimed in multiple federal cases over the past several years that the statute banning cannabis consumers from owning or possessing guns is constitutional because it's consistent with the nation's history of disarming dangerous individuals. How do we just call bullshit on the government? That's exactly what this is. This is stupid. I'm sorry. It's frustrating. The approach is plainly unworkable and would cast doubt not only onto the longstanding provision of federal law at issue here. I'm not going to read too much more of this because it's just more of their wording of saying basically what they're saying, which is this is just messed up, man. This is frustrating. They also wrote in here that in part because they're unlikely to store their weapon properly. What? This is just frustrating. This is silly. There's a whole long article. You can read like their technical writing on the reasoning and all this. This is stupid. This really pisses me off. Javin says, just hope that the Wisconsin bill is written for medical that includes a provision for pain patients usage. Yeah, that's where they didn't want to do in the last bill that they proposed. So, yeah, definitely, and that's the number one thing that cannabis can do is help with pain. Then it's a gray area, basically. Anyway, yep, exactly. It's how Colorado met. Oh, Javin, did you get your shirt, buddy? I can't remember when yours is supposed to arrive. You might have to shake a little bit of that dust off there, but that's how Colorado medical started. Pain was and still is a broad term to get a medical card. Exactly, Tammy. This is just silly. Government needs to be getting rid of something. They need to fully legalize it. Anybody can drink. Yes, sir. Amen. Well, that's all we're going to go into on this article because they can't get any better. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Hopefully there's something we can do, some way we can get some input on that because that's just messed up. Here's something that we'll probably see. Well, we see it now with the UP. We're going to be seeing and we see it in Illinois, and soon we're going to be seeing it in Minnesota. So I thought it'd be cool to look into a little bit of a story they got here on a Missouri marijuana store near the Arkansas border. And guess what? It's flourishing, and local officials want a cut. I think something happened. Hey, you bet, buddy. Thank you for your patience. It's been a minute since we had to get the whole shipping station out. We turned off purchases for a hot minute while we were catching up with the nursery and stuff. But we got her all set up, and we're a full little Amazon warehouse again. So when it comes to this, what kind of cut you think the local officials want over here in Missouri? They said, hey, wait, this cannabis, y'all are making a lot of money. Let us get some. Is that how it went down? I'm going to guess it's something like that. Let's see here. So this is the Flora Farm State Line Dispensary, just a third of a mile from the Arkansas border. So this would probably be like Menominee. I don't even know that. That's a third of a mile. The higher level location there, Menominee from Marinette. So on Sunday afternoon, cars in the drive-through line wrap around the building. About 20 cars are parked out front. Oh, yeah, this sounds exactly like Menominee. Inside, budtenders at 14 registers never stop moving to keep up with the rush. This is actually not busy, said Valerie, the store's inventory manager. Must have been one of these folks that are interviewing her. We stay busy from the time we're open until the time we're closed. Since the store opened on January 5th, it's already become the highest revenue-generating dispensary in the state. On the Missouri side, there's not much near the dispensary. The closest city is Jane, Missouri, a town of about 400. So she says here, sorry, I hit the back button on accident. However, Arkansas offers a web of rapidly growing cities within a 20 to 30-minute drive. Sounds like all the dispensaries in Menominee. Yeah, that's a great point. You know, it's crazy when you go there and it's like my favorite dispensary I love. Sometimes there's a ton of traffic there, but there's not at Nirvana or it's nice to have options. But yeah, it's always busy up there, and it's always the Wisconsin plates. Across the Missouri border, in Bella Vista, Arkansas, a wealthy community with blue-green creeks, several golf courses, and fishing lakes. So they got a little bit of money, I'm assuming. And then it's talking about the fifth fastest growing city in the country is also just down the road. At a glance, the dispensary appears to be a part of Jane, but Jane isn't benefiting from the sales tax revenue of the marijuana gold rush. About a decade ago, so it looks like, this is interesting. So the dispensary is located in the same area as Walmart, and it's an unincorporated area. About a decade ago, Walmart's attorneys were able to squash the town's efforts to annex the area to allow them to benefit from the tax revenue. However, at a recent meeting, the village's board of trustees discussed the possibility of revisiting the effort. That would be huge for us, said trustee Vic Underwood. Yeah, I bet it would. Nothing but Wisconsin plates all the time, right? So it looks like, where do we got it here? His team was awarded 3 cultivations, so this must be the owner. He is an attorney and accountant that started out with 5 employees. This is a ground-up operation, started from scratch. The gentleman said last name's Hendren. He says Flora Farms now operates 3 cultivation licenses. The group is also a manufacturing facility in Springfield. Excuse me. Hendren said State Line is his biggest dispensary by far. Flora Farms closed its dispensary in Neosho to open State Line. At the Neosho location, there were 4 registers and 15 employees. In comparison, State Line has 14 registers and 50 employees. Matt Lee got her start as a bartender there 3 years ago. I got lucky, and then I clung to it, and I'm never letting this go. She said every month the state reports how much marijuana revenue Missouri marijuana businesses bring in, and that's how Hendren gauges how well State Line is doing. Excuse me. So I wanted to see, here we go. The Board of Trustees on a Monday night in April, they discussed the 4th of July celebration with a handful of firefighters, moved on to new business. That's when they said the dispensary hasn't negatively impacted the town at all, and they don't mind it being there. One of their board members said that stuff's been around here since Jesus was of age. There's more problems with alcohol than there is with that stuff. Bingo. Wait, we got to give this guy, he gets a... Okay, I got to get a shorter one. That clapping goes on too long. The question they raised was, where'd that go? Can their community potentially benefit from a local sales tax on marijuana? The trustees said the only way it would likely happen was if the dispensary owners agreed to voluntarily annex. Bill Martin, who the locals call the grandfather of Jane, launched into the town's history of annexation, which he called excruciating. It sounds excruciating. In 2006, the village of Jane voted to expand southward within a mile of the Arkansas border. Martin said the plan was to go all the way to the border, but the residents of the unincorporated town, Cavarina, did not approve it. When all those residents left, the town passed another ordinance in 2012 to annex the business district that included Walmart. By Missouri annexation law, Jane residents can vote to annex an area, especially since there are no residents now to vote otherwise. But Walmart and other businesses challenged the ordinance and won. This guy says, I was a person called up to defend Jane, and I am talking to those $1 million a month lawyers, and I lost. Yeah, I'm going to think you did. Boy, this is interesting what they got going on here. How are you in uncorp? That's crazy. So it looks like they're trying to work on a proposal. If you're a business, you're not like, oh, yeah, let's add a tax to this business. I don't know that that's this is interesting. He's saying if you don't offer to extend services, which is very expensive for them, of course, sometimes it becomes difficult. Yeah. I think you're gonna have a difficult task ahead of you, man. Javin says, I'm glad you guys have access to real weed. A shame you have to drive out of state to get it, though, right? Tammy says, alcoholic parents can let their children unsupervised on the Breach Mill Pond in Manawa, but us stoners are the bad people. Louder for the people in the back, Tammy. Yep, it is something. So this will be interesting to see how things shake out. I'm guessing these guys pull similar numbers to what Menominee does. And yeah, I would think somebody wants to be in on that taxation. That sounds like an uphill battle. If you haven't got Walmart on board yet, I don't know that you're going to get these guys on board. But hey, best of luck to you. Best of luck to you. All right. And I thought we'd end with some good news. Our last article here. This is awesome to see. I think it was on Monday that I saw this come through. Maryland governor. Yes, that's what I'm saying, Chris. Legalize it. Legalize. Decriminalize. Let's go. Maryland governor pardons more than 175,000 marijuana and paraphernalia convictions. This is the governor of Maryland, and pardoned more than 175,000 convictions for low-level marijuana and paraphernalia offenses. This is Governor Wes Moore announced the mass pardon on Monday, describing it as the largest such action in our nation's history, and noting that legalization alone does not turn back the clock on decades of harm, that was caused by this war on drugs. We cannot celebrate the benefits of legalization if we do not address the consequences of criminalization. All right, I'm getting a little carried away with these noises, but man, I've been waiting for something other than just me on this end to make some noise. I love it. But no, this guy deserves, I'm a round of applause for this, guys. The only dangerous thing weed is a gateway to your food in your refrigerator. Yeah, you're damn right. That really got me that first time I read that one. Paraphernalia convictions are a joke in the first place. Second that. We cannot, I love that. Let's read that one more time. We cannot celebrate the benefits of legalization if we do not address the consequences of criminalization. That's awesome. That is a smart man, smart fellow. While the state's legalization law created one of the best and most equitable legal markets in the country, Moore said that the rollout must go hand in hand with the pardoning. Past conduct, and Maryland is going to lead by example. So there's 100,000 misdemeanor marijuana convictions and 75,000 paraphernalia cases. That's awesome. Kudos to these guys. He said, as a nation, we've taken far too long to correct the injustices of a system that is supposed to be just for all. Yet within an unprecedented time frame, Governor, you took bold and courageous action. Yes, he did. Your action today is about equity. It's about racial justice. While the order applies to all who meet this criteria, its impact is a triumphant victory for African Americans and other Marylanders of color who were disproportionately arrested, convicted, and sentenced for actions yesterday that are lawful today. Today is momentous day for Maryland. Yes, yes, yes. Tammy says, I miss Colorado most for their legalization reason. And we need to legalize Wisconsin sooner than later. Amen. Jill says we needed Wisconsin legalized last year, right? We're going to get there, folks. These guys will get them all out of office if we had it 5 years ago, right? Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, that's awesome. Shout out to Governor Wes Moore for getting those things off the records of the people. That is a great point. It's not just about legalization. It's about correcting the wrongs that the unjust controlled substance effects that this has had for far too long on the country and the people in it. Javin says in Arizona, they gave priority to cannabis criminals to get dispensary license. Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up, Jim. That's cool. I like that. So, thought we'd end that on a positive note. Look forward to seeing that day here in Wisconsin someday in the future. I'm really still blood boiling about the DOJ. I didn't realize how serious that was. I didn't get a chance to read the article at length. So that's the gun owning thing just really, that gets me. So I think I'm going to go reflect on that a little bit. Probably enjoy myself a nice little pre-roll. Still rocking that Blue Dream from Higher Love. Shout out to their wonderful organic grow they got on that thing. It's delicious. It's delicious. So Jill says, peace out. Let's go, Jill. Have a good evening. I'll check your message. I saw you had sent me something about a shirt. So I'll make sure I get back to you on that front. Appreciate everybody swinging by this evening. We'll be back at it Friday. We got an awesome guest on Monday. Don't miss Monday's show. This guy is in deep with his understanding of what's going on out there, and he is pushing hard for descheduling. He's out on the East Coast, so looking forward to that. Appreciate everybody. Have a great evening. Much love to all y'all. Wouldn't be doing any of this without you guys. So seriously, appreciate you guys. Have a great evening. Bobby Beans is out of here.